Hello, everyone. As Haley spoke, I am Master Edwards. I am the head coach and trainer. Been doing this for my competition team. We travel internationally. And just on that thought, before I forget, Haley, talk to me later about rugby because my niece plays at UConn. So she's on the
I
rugby.
definitely will.
She's on the rugby team at UConn. So I wanted to start trying to figure out what to talk to people about. And just to help you out, I have a big screen in front of me. So if I look like I'm looking up at you and I'm not, it's because your screen is down here. My camera's there where I have a screen, but you guys are up there, nice, big and beautiful, so I can see your faces. So just, I don't have an ailment. I don't have a wandering eye or anything. I'm looking up this way because that's where you guys are. So I wanted to set the talk on mental toughness and where it comes from. I have notes in front of me, so I'll be dropping down all the time. So please forgive me for that. I wanted to first thank you for joining me on this Labor Day weekend. That right there shows part of your dedication at being an athlete, at taking this time on Labor Day to sit down and to learn to better yourself. And I'm going to say, as a coach, and you probably might want to raise your hand to let me know, how many of you are having a ridiculous time trying to stay motivated in training because you can't actually train right now? So you have to understand, a lot of you, I do a contact sport. So we fight. And when I say we fight, Tae Kwon Do, we fight. My daughter, who competes, really, I wish she would come in here. She's very tall and beautiful and look like a model. She kicks in the face. Oh, Master Schnautical. There's Master Boom. It's one of my actual master instructors that trains with us. She fights. She gets kicked in the face. She kicks in the face. It is if you mess up, that's what your reward is to get, come here. She's gonna stand right here. So this is my daughter. So we fight. So right now we haven't had the ability to fight. We can't train with each other. And I want you to know the national team, and just to get this, those guys who are really serious about what they're doing, I have kids that I know that are in 14, 17-year-old division. What they've done is our training center is in Colorado. They've left home, moved to the Olympic Training Center, so that now, because they're living together in a home, they can train and spar and fight. That's athlete, dedication. That's toughness. So again, I want to thank you guys for having the toughness to set here to better yourselves at this time. And hopefully I can give you something that will continue to help you going on with that. So with that, let me start. I'm going to go in training. When I go for training, it's funny, the name of my team is Team I Win. It seems boastful. We used to have a t-shirt that said, and the reason I can say Team I Win is because I put it with my athletes that winning doesn't always mean you win the match. Winning means you leave the match learning something. So if you didn't win, but you learn, then you didn't lose. So if you set yourself up on that mindset that when you're training, if you train for success and not to win, you'll be a successful athlete. There's a difference between being a successful athlete and a winning athlete. Many of you know people that win a lot, and let's be real, you don't like them. You don't like them. They don't, those athletes that are always focused on winning, what they don't become? Very good teachers. They don't become very good coaches, because once you're not a winner all the time, they don't want to coach you. They don't spend time with you. If you've ever been on a team or with anything where you're working and the coach only works with the best athletes, therefore the other athletes never get better, that's not a coach looking to be successful. He's looking to win a game rather than win the season. To have a winning team that will progress beyond his seniors. So I want you to put in your mind that when you train to be successful. I train in stories. So a lot of the things that I say to you, I don't say because I only read them in a book, or I only trained them, or somebody only said them to me, is because I had the experience with them. I'm going to let you know, my daughter started training with me in fighting. So she started training as the master instructor's daughter in black belt division in what's called the 12 to 13-year-old black belt division. And let me see, how do I impress upon you how strong it is to start in the black belt 12 to 13-year-old division? What's the word? Here it is. The 12 to 13-year-old division in black belt is described as the first unprotected division, which means you can get knocked out. So that's when my daughter started. First fights started in the first unprotected division, where she was fighting and she could get knocked out. I had to sit in the chair and watch her do that. To let you know, my daughter, she literally, and she's not here, right? She literally lost every fight her entire year. Her first year, every fight. She got to state championships, and at state championships, the way that the seeding worked out, she ended up going to nationals. So she made nationals because she went to enough competition, she fought enough, she did well enough. She didn't, and you know when she won her very first fight? Nationals. Nationals was her very first win. So her mental toughness to be able to stay with it the entire time, and then hopefully me as being her coach, not putting on her the necessity to always win as being the object, but to be successful, to learn each match. Hopefully that's what set her up to win. And now she's at the end of this season, really, 2020 messed her up as of it. So it was her last season to compete in high school. She's leaving, in top 10 athletes. So she is finishing her career, and she's now going to become a coach. That's what she wants to focus on, but she made it to be a top 10 athlete. So if you take that down, take the idea of train to be successful, not necessarily always to win. To win, if you don't win, make sure you learn. So, and then you can have fun with that. Like we made t-shirts, and our t-shirts actually said, I either win or I learn, team I win, but on the back it said, but you gonna learn today. So I'm not saying that you should not have confidence, you should not be proud, you should not be happy with yourself, but saying the idea that you're trained to be successful. Second idea in success is trying to learn how to be happy. You have to find that medium. Who's ever trained and wasn't happy? Like when you were working, you weren't happy. If you find that, you gotta stop. You've got to stop and try to figure out what. Now it's one thing to be stuck in the suck. This is a teenage. Everybody's teenage, right? This is high school. Okay, sorry. It's one thing to be stuck in the suck, but the thing about being stuck in the suck is you're happy because you know what's going to happen at the end of it. So when you find yourself that you can't endure the suck, you got to reevaluate what you're doing. Does that make sense? Also, when you're training to make mental toughness, you have to decide what your character is when you're training. Decide what your character is. You have to do. Character is an extremely important part of training. Being on time, wanting to learn, not always to win, wanting to learn. I tell the story of how I try to train my athletes to have character first. Before I even train them on doing anything, I train them character first. And doing that is a millennial long idea. If you think about it, if you think of the Army, you think of any military establishment, any fighting group, when they first join, is the first thing they teach them to do to fight? No, they don't teach them to fight first. What they teach them to do is first they teach them to learn to listen. They teach them to focus, to pay attention. They teach them how to take instruction. They teach them to empty their cup so that they can learn. The way I put that is I have, victory is not, yes, thank you. So if victory is not the measure of success, what is? What is successful is how you feel after everything you do, what you learn after every competition. Winning, you can win and actually lose. You can win and lose a part of yourself. If anybody ever watches here we go, I'm gonna be a little trendy. Who's watching Cobra Kai? Come on, somebody, come on. Oh, somebody, nobody else, Cobra Kai, Karate Kid. Oh, so think about that. Think about the times that you have won, but you didn't win correctly. Does that make sense? Winning correctly? You know, you won the match, but now you're successful. You're a better person after that win. Is that going to help you on your next successful idea? No, because now, so that's the idea. Victory isn't always the measure of success. I've known a lot of people who have been winners and just been idiots, been bad people. Sorry to say that. But I talk about character first, teaching character first, teaching that idea first. I use my brother gets really upset because I use him as an example for this, where my nephew plays basketball, and he wants my brother wants royalties every time I tell this story. But my nephew plays basketball, and I went to go watch him play basketball for the first time, and my brother is the coach. So I go to watch his game. We go to the high school. It's middle school. There's a game going on first. So we have to wait in the cafeteria as the game's going on. And I'm talking to my brother. I got my nephew with me. And down the hall come these kids running down the hallway, throwing book bags and hats and screaming, coming into the cafeteria, knocking over stuff. You guys don't know me. Haley's, your mom knows me. She knows who I am. My first instinct is to turn and go, what's up with these babies? What is wrong? I got to go over straighten these kids out. What's going on? And I stopped and I looked at my brother and I was like, oh my God, I am so happy right now. And he looked at me and he said, why are you happy? I was like, because those aren't my kids. I got to do nothing with them. Those aren't my kids. My brother looked at me and said, that's my team. So that's my nephew's team. Wow. And he was like, and he was trying to explain himself and rationalize it out, where he was going, well, I only have them for a certain amount of time. I have to teach them basketball. I have to teach them plays, and I have to teach them how to shoot and stuff like that. So I stopped him. This is the only time he's ever listened to me in my entire life of us being together. Only time ever, because I was able to explain to him. But don't you think if you fix their character, their focus, their discipline first, how much more you would be able to teach them in class? So if you took one class and rewarded them and showed them how to learn, how to focus, how to pay attention, how much better of athletes would they be if that was set? So I'm saying for you guys, establish your character. Your mental toughness will be set on your character. You establish your character, you're focused on what you're doing, and therefore you will be a better student, a better athlete. You'll be more successful. Does this all run into play? Hopefully it all runs into how when I wrote it all down, this all goes into you guys. My thought also is when you train, you need to train with consequences. That sounds bad. But as a Tae Kwon Do athlete, we have consequences. And when I say that, when you train, what's better for you, to just do a practice or to have a scrimmage? What do you think? Scrimmage or practice? 2 is for practice, 1 is for scrimmage. Give me a hand. 1 for scrimmage, 2 for practice. Scrimmage. Now, practice, extremely important because you have to learn. It doesn't make sense. The idea of taking you and throwing you in a pool to teach you how to swim, you'll be able to swim, but what ability won't you be swimming? You won't be swimming right. You'll just be staying above water. So understand you have to have a coach and you have to be an athlete to put those thoughts together correctly. Now, you have to have a great mixture of practicing and scrimmaging and having consequences for what you do. My daughters, they fight. My daughter, she fights. So if she's practicing and she's not practicing correctly, or she's practicing some trick, I don't know what sport you guys play, but you have a sport and the guy has the trick move that looks really cool, and they can do that. In Tae Kwon Do, the big, great moves to be able to do like a jump spinning hook kick. I was going to get up and show you one, but that's okay. The jump spinning hook kick is a really exciting technique. But if you don't do it at the right time, it doesn't make any sense to be doing it. So you need to train with consequences so that you know if your techniques actually work. We do sparring. So actually, when we're training, we almost have consequences every time because we're sparring. And I call sparring and scrimmages, I call those a crucible. Does everybody know what a crucible is? I say that term to young people. I also use the term carbon paper, and kids look at me like, carbon paper? Raise your hand if you know what a crucible is. Oh, okay, thank you. So a crucible is basically something that you can put something that has impurities in it, and you can filter out the impurities and just get the gold. They put gold in a crucible. Crucible is a big rock that has holes in it. You put the gold in it and you heat up the rock, it melts the gold, all the impurities come out and you get pure gold. That's how you know your technique is working, is when you can train it and use it against something or someone. It doesn't always have to be someone, sometimes it can be stress. You guys do math in school and your stress is a time limit. You have to be able to do it in a certain amount of time. You have to be able to do it when you don't know. Does that all make sense? So please make sure that you find whatever your crucible is. You find whatever it is that makes whatever technique you're training in, whatever ideas or thoughts you have, make sure you get them. I'm a coach. So as a coach, you know what I have to deal with all the time? Teenage attitudes. So you know what I do? I constantly practice on teenagers. I'm the master instructor. I will sit and I will have a full out debate argument with a 7-year-old and we'll go at it for 30 minutes. Because if I can convince that 7-year-old of the point, then I'm good. Who likes music? Like music? So I've been lucky in my life to have a few famous friends that know things, and I have one guy who's a producer, and one of the things that he did with his music was his artists would give him music, they would give him tracks, and what he would do is he would play the music for his 7 and 9-year-old kids. He would literally just have his 7, 9-year-old kids sitting down, and he wouldn't tell them what they're doing, he would play it. And if his 7 and 9-year-old kids started going, he was like, you gotta hit, because they understand the music in the essence of it, in the purest forms. No word, if you know music, that's what that hook is. So you wanna put everything that you do through some type of crucible. Some type of test doesn't have to hurt you. Consequence doesn't necessarily mean pain. Sometimes a consequence will help, or that crucible will help you fix the technique to make it work better. What was I going to say? Everything is crucible for. Sorry, I have perfect story. I love stories, by the way. I have a million of them. If you ever train with me, I have a million stories. I went to a competition, and this is a story I tell all the time. Red belt in Tae Kwon Do is decently high. Red belt is right before black belt. So when you're competing in the red belt level, your next level is to compete in the black belt level. I went to a competition and there were these like 10-year-old red belts. And this one red belt was fighting. And he was fighting, he was good, he was strong, going at it. And he was going off and he was fighting this other kid who was also really good, but the other kid had really good movement. So the kid was fighting and kicking and punching, but he couldn't hit him. He was moving all around, they were going through. And all of a sudden, the kid that was kicking and punching all the time started crying uncontrollably in the middle of the match. Talk about mental toughness. This is why this kid, he didn't have mental toughness. When I say crying, I mean snot bubbles and everything come out as crying. And the referee stopped the fight and was like, "Are you okay? Are you hurt? Did I miss something?" And I'm telling you, on a stack of Bibles, the kid looked at the referee, pointed at the other kid and said, "He won't stop moving so I can hit him." I'm sitting in the chair going, what was this coach doing to this kid? You know what this coach was doing with this kid? He was setting him up to win all the time, but not be successful. So he never let him fail. I use a lot of analogies. I use a lot of acronyms. Has anybody heard one of the acronyms for fail? One of the acronyms for fail is? You should write this down. So fail, first attempt in learning. That's what fail means. First attempt in learning. in my life of training in a coach, you know what I would much rather be? I'd much rather be a failure than a quitter. You tell my daughters, my daughters play 3 sports. I have field hockey, Tae Kwon Do, and softball. I'd rather my daughter throw a pitch and a kid crack it out of, she's a pitcher too. So they all play positions that are like, if you mess up, it's obvious right away. I'd rather her try a pitch and someone knock it out of the ballpark and her fail than her just quit trying to throw it because people hit it. No, they're trying to hit it. You're trying not to, to make them not hit it. So you need to fail. If I was to, and I'm going to give you this an honest idea, and this is just me personally when I think of mental toughness. If I was going to have a teammate, I would rather have a champion who had lost before. You sit me next to somebody who's been undefeated and give them as my partner, I'm going to tell you something. I'm a little suspect. I'm a little suspect of an undefeated champion because it just means he hasn't faced anybody to beat him yet. What's he going to be like when he loses? I don't know. I may put money on him. I may drop a couple of dollars on him if I was betting, but I don't know if I would compete with him because I don't know what his reaction is going to be when he loses, or if things get tough, if he's a comeback kind of champion, or if he's the fighter that just wins every fight the first 30 seconds the minute. So learn to fail, learn to understand what it means to fail. So that comes into the most important part of being an athlete. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard it before and think about it. You have to have your why. You need to know your why. So the person who asked me before, how do you measure what was, I think the question was, how do you measure your success if not through victory? That's how you're going to measure success. You got to find your why. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it for a medal? Are you doing it to go to college? Are you doing it for recognition? Are you doing it to become stronger? Were you weak and all of a sudden now this makes you feel better? And that comes into terms with, I've done a lot of seminars. I've worked with a lot of people. Has anyone ever heard of Tony Robbins? You young people today. I have a lot of blank screens, so I can only see 3 of you. So you guys are in charge. You guys are my audience. So when I say something, if you don't nod or point, then I can't say anything. So Tony Robbins is a motivational speaker. And right now he's probably one of the best motivational speakers ever. Oh, hey Jada. He's probably one of the most motivational speakers ever. I went to a seminar with him. Oh, raise your hand. Who's the one from Jersey? Give me a hand raise, or who's one from Jersey? He filled the Prudential Center for 3 days. Him by himself speaking to people. Oh, Master Starter, was she there? No, she wasn't there. Filled the Prudential Center for 3 days. And he has a theory. Hello, right? You were there, right, Master Snortigal? Yes. Sorry, that's Master Boom. She's one of our Tae Kwon Do moms. She is ridiculous and a master instructor with two children that are instructors. So one of his theories. Who's ever heard of the 6 human needs? Okay, take your pencil out. Write this down. I'm going to give you the way to find your why. So you're going to write these 6 things down. First, write down certainty. And then next to certainty, write down uncertainty. Next line, write down significance. Next to significance, write down love. Next line, write down growth. Next to growth, write down contribution. If you're to break down the whole, now obviously you can't get every single thing, but if you use these 6, you can use, and this is just me, this is not my idea. This is Tony Robbins. And it's not Tony Robbins' idea. He's gotten it from somebody else. He's read and he's trained through, but he put it down to these are some of the most popular and consistent. Your 6 human needs. So and I take this to figure out your why and to figure out how you train and why you train. First thing you need in training is you need certainty. This speaker series is certainty. You know every week that this speaker series is going to be here. What's the uncertainty? Who it's going to be, right? What the speaker is going to be on. So you have something that you're certain is going to happen every single week. So, but the thing that keeps you coming every single week, first is you know it's going to be there. Second, every time you go, you know it's going to be something different, somebody different. You're listening to me, and as many times as this is going through, hopefully I'm a little bit unique. Hopefully what the things that I'm saying, you haven't heard any other speakers say yet. Okay, if you do, give me the bong. Heard that already. Because I try to be creative when I speak. Second idea as we're training is significance. Significance and love. Now, in my mind, these two things are the most, I'm going to say, this is my interpretation of it as I put it through. These are my two most dangerous parts. Significance and love. I always tell people, if you're going to find your why, it can't be significance. Your why cannot be significance. If you have your why significance, that's because you're doing it for praise. You're doing it to be above. You're doing it to be significant. It is all that you are. Think of the athlete that does their sport because they're good at it, but they get the cheers from the fans and people prop them up as important and people listen to them. People give them things. Now, who knows the worst thing to happen to an athlete that does that? They get injured. Then once they get injured, what do they no longer have? They lost their significance. Therefore, they lost who they were. They lost themselves. You're training for, so don't, if I can tell you anything, don't train for significance. Love is the opposite idea of training for love, because you train for love because you love it. You're giving to people who you love. You're doing it for the love of it. But that is also a tricky one to base your why on, because what happens if something makes you not love it? Instead of loving yourself, loving it. If you can do it, but continue to do it because you love it, because you love yourself, then it's a strength. And there can be no weakness in anything that you do through love of self. There can be weakness in things that you do through love of others. Those of you who are playing your sport right now, who joined whatever sport they're doing with somebody? Like joined with a friend, joined with a brother, joined with a sister, joined with their children. Then once they left, you still kept training. That means you love it. You didn't do it for the love of your children, the love of your friend, to be with your friend, to be with your loved one. You did it because you love it. That's a good sign. Does that make sense? Right now, I'm actually, I work with a group called, and if you got all you guys who train, there's a great organization that I work with, and it's called Juice Compound. So if you write that down, it's called Juice Compound. They have a great series of working out their athletes, world recognized athletes and doctors that I work with. And in Juice Compound, one of the things that we do is we do a rhythm clap. So every once in a while, if you see me go like this or get ready to say rhythm, it's because I'm expecting you guys to go every time I say something. So forgive me. It's how I stage myself. It's so forgive me if I do that. The last two in human needs are growth and contribution. In my brain, you can't fail with those two. Growth. I'm doing it because I want to better myself. I'm doing it because I want to learn. I'm doing it because I want to get past where I am to the next spot. I want to grow. Can't lose if I'm trying to grow. If I'm trying to if I'm keeping others' love in process, if I'm growing without harm, I can't lose. Then there's contribution. My human need is to contribute to someone else. I was just talking to, this is going off of my script a little bit, but I was just talking to my cousin. And a cousin, I was talking about contribution because I was talking about what's going on next after me. That's what I do as a coach. Right now, I'm training my daughter because I don't want the team, the ideals, or things that we're doing to fade once I'm gone. And she doesn't have to do it at UMac. She doesn't have to do it where I am. But if she can pull that to where she goes to school, if she can pull that to with her friends, that's my contribution. So right now I'm thinking financially, I keep putting money away now so that my kids can have generational wealth. I want my team to have generational wealth. Right now I work with a team of young people that are at our UMac. We have 11 locations, so we have, besides master instructors, we have instructors under us, and we have a leadership team. In our leadership team, one of the things we do is we train people to do what we do. I'm sorry, and you can ask Master Boom, Master Snorticle. You can ask Haley's mom. I'm unique. There's no one else like me. You're never gonna see me again. But if I can pass on what I do for somebody else to do it the way they do it, I have an idea where people, something I hate, and I'm gonna tell you this, when I teach somebody something and then they repeat what I say in class and they give me the recognition for it. This is a saying I got for Master Edwards, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. You're using it. You know who it became? It's yours. You put it into yourself. Can't bottle me, ma'am. You put it, but you can dab a little me on you like cologne, You can smell like Master E a little bit. So the idea is, I don't want you to do it because I made it great. I want whoever you're telling it to accept it from you. You don't need me to co-sign it. If it works for you, if you thought of it, if you find a technique that's for you, that's it. Who plays soccer? Does anybody here play soccer? No. So when you're playing soccer, does everybody know that hold on a second, I'm on my chair. If I fall, nobody laugh. All right. When the ball comes and you do the kick backwards and kick it over your head. Does anybody know what that kick was called? Pele. That used to be called the Pele kick, because back in the day there was a soccer player, his name was Pele, and he started doing it. But what happened was people started doing it, so many people started doing it that it lost the name of Pele, but it just became, I think it's called the bicycle kick now. It just became called the bicycle kick. I have a student right now that played soccer. You know what he does in his sparring matches? He does a bicycle kick. He holds on to the person, he jumps backwards and kicks him in the back of the head, and then falls like the soccer. His mom won't let it do it anymore because she thinks she's gonna break his neck. But we had one good tournament where he was wrapping people with it. Sorry, I digress. Anyway, I love fighting, by the way, so if I digress my fighting, I'm sorry. But when you're doing something, I want you to think in your training, when you find your why, think of those 6 ideas. Those 6 human needs will decide why you're doing what you're doing, why you're training so hard, why you're looking to win or be successful. And let's more go to be successful than to be winners. Winning is a byproduct of being successful. Winning is a byproduct of being successful. Does anybody know who Patrick Ewing is? Okay, Patrick Ewing is a basketball player. So if you guys have heard of his name, he played at Georgetown. He played for the Knicks. Oh, that's right, New York guy, Knicks. I'm a New Yorker, but you're a Knicks fan. Yeah. So do you know so Patrick Ewing is one of the most famous people in sports, very successful as a coach. You know what Patrick Ewing never did in his entire career? What did he never do, Mamadou?
He never won a championship.
Never won a championship. All of his years in the NBA, Patrick Ewing never won a championship. Was he still successful? I think so. You know, I think he was successful in many more things. Him not winning a championship did not make him not successful. I mean, does Jordan get more shine? You know, does Kobe get more shine? Yeah, they want a chip, but you cannot just put off Patrick Ewing's career as an unsuccessful and a waste of career because he was successful, because he did what he was doing. He was at the best, the top echelon, and he was able to have contribution to the game. Does that all make sense? Awesome. Um, Now I'm going to get to the tough part of your of mental toughness. So I've set you all up for this, right? I've been nice. I'm smiling, right? Everybody's cool? We're good? All right. Let's not get it twisted. When you train, let's not and stop expecting results and rewards for the work you don't do. Let's stop expecting results and rewards and getting angry because we weren't successful, because we didn't win, but you didn't do the work. I have my if you know basketball, if you know basketball kids who are basketball players, what is one of the things you constantly see that basketball player with? You always see dude with a ball in his hand. You always see him with a ball in his hand. You always see him, if you live in his town, you always see him running around town. Even if he doesn't have a ball, you can look and go, oh, that's a baller right there. He balling. He a baller. That's a baller, right? You see my guys, they fight. Whenever they run, you know how they run? Constantly working. No, I'm not messing with him. That's a fighter. He running, but as a fighter, I'm not messing with him. Especially you see my daughter, they start kicking and doing stuff. You're not messing with that. The idea is if you want to really get into this game, do the work. Do the work. Big story I have, and who's that? I'm gonna say here's the first one. I'm gonna say a cliche term that you've probably all heard. So hopefully this is gonna be the first and last one that I say is everybody heard. Who's ever heard the saying about talent? Yes. Okay, here we go. Who's ever let me try to set it up. The comparison of talent and hard work. Another one for you to write down. Are you ready? Hard work beats talent that doesn't work hard. Hold on a second. I don't got a mic. Here's my water. I'm dropping my. I'm gonna drop it again. I'm gonna drop my water. Hard work beats talent that doesn't work hard. Perfect example. And it happened to me. I played football. I played a lot of sports. That's why and all the sports I've played have mostly been contact sports. I played baseball a little bit, but I played football all through high school. In football, if you've ever played football, rugby, those are hard. By the way, anybody ever gets in any trouble? Haley's playing football. She's playing rugby. Trouble ever happens, that's somebody's gonna have your back right there. She's playing rugby. She's good. She's gonna get to where she's gotta go, or she's gonna make it she's gonna make a hole. Use that. All right, she's gonna make a hole. Sorry, as I digress again. Playing football, and I played in Catholic League, and one of the biggest things that we had was called the Metro Bowl. And to get the Metro Bowl, we weren't the winningest team, but we seemed to have won the games, everything. We were in the playoffs for the Metro Bowl. We had a kicker. I'm not going to say his name because he'd probably be upset if I brought him up, and I have to give him some dividends to this, what I'm saying. But he played soccer. And if you know, in high school, one of the most difficult things in high school is the kicker. It's a singular position. It's only used, 3 times during the game. You punt, you kick the field goal, you kick off, you kick the extra point. It's the only time it's used during the game. So he played soccer. He was our star soccer athlete. So when he came to football, he didn't even have pads in his pants and stuff. He just had shoulder pads, his shirt, his pants, because the pads would mess up his ability to kick. So he could kick 60-yard field goals in senior year, like just for fun. He would come out there, blasting them out. So he would only come to practice on Friday. He did his soccer, but he would only come to practice on Friday. He never did the running with us. So he wasn't really a part of he was a part of the team because he had a position, but he wasn't part of the team. You know what I mean? Like when stuff that, if we did something wrong and we had to, our coaches had something that was called opportunity. Opportunity was if you messed up in class, you had the opportunity to do this 5-mile run after practice in your cleats and full uniform. One of the things that we had to run opportunity for is if you guys run now, I want you to understand as a runner, when I was playing ball, if you were a back, you had to be able to do a mile in 6 minutes. If you were a lineman, you had to be able to do it in 6.5. If you couldn't do it for the first 2 weeks of what we called hell weeks, if you couldn't do it, after every practice, you had to run opportunity until the next morning to where you could run that 6-minute or 6.5-minute mile. I made my 6 mile every single year. My 6 minutes every single year, I had to do it one time. Anyway, going on again. He's playing again, that's all he did. So if something happened to the team, if we lost the game, it didn't bother him. He got his varsity jacket, he didn't really care. So we go to the Metro Bowl, playoffs. We're playing against one of the powerhouse teams in New York. Mount St. Michael from New York, if you know Mount, we're playing against, we're about to make it to the Metro Bowl. The score is 18-16. We play it all the way up. There's only 15 seconds left in the game. We work it all perfect. If you guys don't know football, it's a 17-yard chip shot. 17-yard chip shot. We pull up our kicker, I almost said his name, and this is recorded. We pull our kicker up, comes up, sets up, we're all ready. We're like, yeah, we're going to the Metro Bowl. I don't think I've ever seen a worse field goal kick in my entire life. He duped that kick unbelievably. I mean, a 6-year-old could have kicked a better field goal than he kicked. Now, so when we lost, the other team cheered and blah, blah, and went off. So we're going to the locker room. And as I get older, I look at this all the time and I look at him, and he was a tough kid. He cried like a baby. He was in the stall all by himself, away from the team, crying like a little child after that. Because you know what that was? That was regret. You want to have mental toughness? The biggest thing that hurts your heart is regret because you didn't show the mental toughness or put in the work you were supposed to be putting in before. In my mind, I'm looking at him, I need to be upset. What are you crying for, dog? We lost. You didn't put anything into it. You had no, what did you expect? You put no work in. Again, these are just my feelings. I'm not saying this is written down as a law. So, you can say, Matt, that's what Master Edward said. Or if you believe it, just believe you say it. Don't put it on me. But these are just my thoughts on how you gain your mental toughness. As I'm starting to close right now, because if you know me, Master Snorkel knows me, there's nothing better than I like than this right now. Master Snorkel, stop giggling at me. I am a father of 3 daughters. I have a wife in the house, and my mom used to be here. I was a man in a house of 6 women. No one ever sat and listened to me. I couldn't get anybody. My daughter would sit. Both of my daughters have been in and out of this room. They done left and come back. They don't sit and listen to me. So to have a captive audience that can't move right there, woo, I'm in heaven right now. But she's like, I'm listening. In your training to gain your mental toughness, you have to understand. I'm gonna ask this question. Confidence and courage. Confidence and courage. In your training, in your athletic ability, in your job, what you do. So many times people put confidence and courage together. Do you guys realize that confidence and courage are 2 ridiculously different animals? Do we understand why confidence and courage are different animals? Anybody tell me why confidence and courage are different? Now I'm going to stop you right there. Here's what happened just now. For someone to click on off of their mic and speak, what would they have needed? Courage. Nobody hit the even the people, I'm looking at your names that aren't even on camera. I'm gonna wait for somebody else to answer. I'm not gonna put myself out there. That would take courage. Courage is great. Courage is the ability to step up to the unknown, put yourself in a bad situation, try to go through. If that had been me, I'd have been like, Jeopardy. You would have caught me like I was on Family Feud, slapping the button. You know why I've been slapping the button? Because I've got confidence, because I knew the answer. I've done what I'm doing right now thousands of times. Somebody has put me out and I've answered a question. I've been put on the spot and been successful on the spot. I was in you guys' exact situation one time where I was at a conference and the instructor, the person who was teaching at the conference came up with a big cement block, huge block. And he put it down on a block and he went up to it and he, that's hard. And he reached into his pocket and he was like, I'll give $1,000 to anybody that can come up and break this brick. And everybody was, I can't break that brick. I almost hurt myself jumping up on to the stage so fast. So I walked up to it, I looked at everybody, and you know what I did? I picked the brick up off the thing over my head like this. And I was gonna slam it on the floor. And all of the people on the stage, they went, and the one guy looked at me and was like, sir, the stage costs a lot more than $1,000. So I was like, oh, so you want me to save your little seminar here? All right. So I put it back down, and then I got off the stage, and the seminar speaker reached under the table, pulled out a sledgehammer, and broke it with a sledgehammer and talked about whatever. I had confidence. That wasn't courage. It doesn't take courage to do something that I know. That's not courage. So understand the difference between confidence and courage. In your training, do you know what you want to have? Confidence. You want to have confidence. Why do you have confidence? Because I've done it 1,000,000 times. Why does the coach make me kick that shot 5,000 times? For confidence. Why do they make you run so much? For confidence that I know my energy is going to be there, that I know my cardio is there. Why when you're fighting do I kick you in the face? Ooh, sorry. So being recorded. Or why do I act like I'm going to kick you in the face? I don't kick anybody in the face. Rewind that and erase that. Anyway, because I want you to have confidence of that you stopped it, or confidence, crazy again, talking about Cobra Kai. If you remember, if you watch it, there's an episode on it where this is bad. I would never do this. But it goes on, you need to understand how to get punched in the face. You need to understand how to get punched in the face, because if you don't understand how to get punched in the face, you're not going to be able to survive being punched in the face. So he said, anybody who's ever been, there's a story, who knows who Mike Tyson is? Okay, Mike Tyson has a beautiful story. I have the t-shirt. It's a beautiful story. Mike Tyson, if you don't know Mike, he was a ridiculous fighter. He was a god. He was the baddest man on the planet. And what happened is before people, and he would beat people in 30 seconds, 90 seconds, all the time. Just knock them out. Wow. And people would pay thousands of dollars to come see him fight. 90 seconds, fight was over. And everybody, before they fight him, they would always say, oh, the way you beat Mike is, you jab him, you tire him out, you clinch him, you get him to the long rounds, you give him lots of movement, you give him extra pressure. And Mike, people will be talking, and Mike would go just like this. Yep. And then he said an immortal line. He said, everybody always has a plan to beat me. Oh, my bike's going by. Everybody always has a plan to beat me, right up until I punch him in the face. So everybody's got a plan, right till they get punched. I'm gonna do this, kick. And your plan goes out the window. Again, that goes back to our idea of when you train with consequences, train on the stress, because you want to make sure that your plan, your techniques, or whatever you do work, right? So when you're training, you have to have confidence. The way you build confidence is by having the courage to do stuff and then do it so many times that you are almost in your mind just blindly that you can do it. So anybody that has a technique, whatever sport you are in, I want you to have the same type of confidence that you have in writing your name. Here, watch, do me a favor. If you have paper in front of you, I know a lot of you I can't see. If you have a piece of paper in front of you, what I want you to do is I want you to look down at your piece of paper and I want you to sign your signature. Okay? Now what I want you to do is I want you to take your pen, go to the line underneath where you just signed your signature, put your pen there, close your eyes, sign your signature again. Look at your signature. That's how whatever you're doing, that's how your techniques have to be. You have to be able to have that type of confidence. Hello, little boom. You have to have that type of confidence in whatever you do. If you have that type of confidence, courage will come, because there's if you have that type of confidence in what you do, it will then pull off courage into whatever else you do. If you have that type of confidence in what you do, I did it again. I have a beautiful saying. That's the second way that I have that saying, and I mess it up all the time. My daughter just giggles because I always hit that. I always tell people, it's not important what you will do. What's important is what you will do. What you do. So that's, sorry, but what you, off track again. But the idea is if you have that type of confidence in something, it will permeate the rest of your life and give you courage in other things. For instance, I want you to think about, and what time is it? I don't have a clock.
It's 3 o'clock.
Oh, so I'm right on time. So look at that, I'm finishing up perfect. But I'm going to leave you guys some time for talk. If you guys have questions, if we have time for that, ma'am, that's good. You guys can ask some questions. The idea of confidence and doing what you're doing, you need to decide, because you guys are all athletes. You have to decide if you're a player or if you're somebody who plays the game. Are you a player or are you somebody that plays the game? I've in my life doing stuff, I've had people come to me and they tell me they're actors, they're singers, and they're this and they're that, and I do this. I'm in this company, I do whatever. So I've done it several times. Somebody comes up to me and they tell me, well, I'm a singer. I'm an actress and I'm doing this. And I was like, you're an actress? All right, tell me your part right now. Well, I don't have my script. Okay, yeah, you're not an actress. You do some acting. Oh, I'm a dancer. Oh, you're a dancer. Oh, show me one of your moves. Oh, well, I don't have my music. I don't have my proper shoes on. You're not an actress. You just do some acting. I've done that. Awesome. So I'm going to give you, this is a perfect example. I have a young man. You can look him up. You can look him up because his name is Zach Sorrow. Zach Sauer, you can look him up. So I trained with him one time and he told me that he was in this show. He was doing West Side Story and he was playing, not Pony Boy, but he was playing like Johnny Boy. He was playing somebody in West Side Story. And we were at our he was one of my Taekwondo black belts, one of my first Taekwondo black belts, and we're at the dojang. And he is telling me this story. You should come and watch me. I'm gonna be at the so-and-so playhouse. You should come see the story. I was like, oh. So you an actor, huh? You a performer, huh? He was like, yeah, I'm a performer. I was like, show me a little something. And he went, put his head down. Now imagine, this is before class, room is filled with parents, room is filled with students on the side. He puts his head down and in my brain, I'm going, yeah, you just like the rest of them. When I tell you all of a sudden he went, a jet is a jet and a better bet. And the first thing that happened was people went, ha, 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 ha. And then everybody went. And he went through the whole thing, jet. I was like, yo, dog, put me down for season tickets. I'm coming. I'll be at the next show. I'm coming. And I went. And so that's the level that I want you to be. I want you to be a player. And if you're a player, that will go off into anything else you do. If you're awesome in soccer and you're proud and you're a team captain, you know what people are expecting you to do in the baseball game? They're expecting you to step up and still have that type of, you may not be as good, but they're expecting you that your courage should flow over from your confidence in that. Last thing that I'm going to say, I'm gonna set you guys up again. Ready? Let's see who has courage to answer the question. All right. Would you rather have knowledge or intelligence? 1 for knowledge, 2 for intelligence. Would you rather have knowledge or intelligence? Okay. Jada is the only one. So Jada, bing, bing, you win. Jada said 2. Jada said intelligence. Again, this is just my focus on how I think. Listen to me. When you have knowledge, you only know what you know. That's what knowledge is. You only know what you know. I know people who are graduates with degrees from Harvard University. They're the stupidest people I know. I know people that have got advanced degrees and this and that. Stupid. Great in their field, great in what they're doing. Intelligence. Intelligence gives you the ability to figure out and know everything. If I'm sitting in front of a car engine and I don't have any knowledge of a car engine, I can't do anything. If it stops, like, AAA, they still have AAA? AAA, you know, Uncle Johnny, can you come get me? Because I don't have any knowledge in it. If I've got some intelligence, if I've worked with stuff and I see how things work, I can figure out some little things. You guys realize how much money you would be able to save if you changed to own oil in your car? Do you realize, you realize how easy it is to change your oil in your car? How easy it is to save that $170? So easy. But we don't have the knowledge or the intelligence on how to figure it out. So that's what I'm saying. You want intelligence. Intelligence, knowledge is great. Don't get me wrong. Knowledge is great, but you become so much more knowing with intelligence. All right. So anybody got any questions? Since I went over, I'm sorry I went over our question time.
Yeah, just super quickly, thank you so much, Master Edwards. And anybody that has a question can either type it out in chat. If they're on camera, you can raise your hand, or there should be a little like emoticon that you can raise your hand through Zoom. I had one quick question. When you were talking about, like building character, especially like as a coach for your players and your athletes, I guess thinking more as a teammate, how do you think you can encourage that character building between you and your teammates?
So it's so funny. I wish I had the diagram of it, but I don't know how, when you guys look at stuff, it's so funny you said that, because I was going to put it into when I was talking to you guys, but there is a famous saying that there is no I in team. Has anybody ever heard that? There's no I in team. What I say is I say that's not true. I say there is an I in team. Give me 1 second. My drawing skills are really bad, but I'm working on it. Hold on. I'm coming. This is going to be the worst I've ever done this. Right? Can everybody see that? I know it may be backwards. There's no I in team. That's what everybody says, yes? Hold on. There is an I in team. There is an I in team. There are all of you in there. So when you have a team is a plural of I. Us, sorry for, I work on visuals. Us is a plural of you. is the plural of you. So if you want to build the character of the team, you've literally got to build the character of each person. Your character improves, your team's character improves. Who's ever heard the term entrainment? So entrainment is the idea of you get trained to follow either the weakest or the strongest of something. Entrainment, if you want to see entrainment, go to one night, just be funny, go to a stoplight, right? Stand at a stoplight or a crosswalk or something like that. And if you're funny enough and you have a friend with you, and just do this. After a while, you know what everybody will do? They'll start looking up because they get entrained to figure out, to try to see what's going on around. If you ever watch The New Karate Kid, that was entrainment when he was following the snake and he made the snake do what he was doing. So if you want to improve the character of your team, improve your character. That's the only way you can do it. Improve your character. Don't try to improve your character, and your team should follow with.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's really helpful. I know we're running a little bit late, so I don't want to go past 3:15, but if anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them in chat or, raise your hand or anything. So I'll give just like a few seconds if anybody has anything they'd like to say.
Feel free. I'm coming. Like I said, I'm coming up to Connecticut. I'm sorry I went over.
No, don't worry about it. I think I speak for all of us when I say this has been a really awesome talk and really inspiring. Again, anybody that has a question, feel free to raise your hand. I think since we're running late, I'll kind of go through my thank yous and just kind of talk about what next week will look like, but don't let that stop you from like interrupting me or anything like that. So first off, just a big thank you so much, Master Edwards, for being here today. This has been a really great talk, and I can't wait for other people to see the recording as well, because I know it's been really helpful for me as an athlete, because we haven't had too many speakers yet talk about mental toughness yet. So I think that was really helpful for any athlete. So thank you so much for being here. We all really appreciate it. And I hope that everyone is able to come next week at the same time, so Sunday at 2:00 EST. We are going to have Alicia Washington, who is the Yale assistant coach for their women's rugby team, the co-founder of the XV Foundation, and she's on the national rugby women's team, and I was lucky enough to meet her at one of their practices. She's really great and does a lot for the rugby community, and also especially for women in contact sports. She focuses a lot on that, and sometimes the stigmas against that, and she tries to work on breaking those down, which I really appreciate. She's going to be our 12th speaker in our official speaker series, so that's very exciting. And I hope that I see you all there next week. So thank you all so much for joining us today. And again, another big thank you to you, Master Edwards, for being here.
Thank you so much. It was an awesome pleasure. You guys, please continue to have success in your athletic career.
Awesome. I'll see you guys later. Bye.